Shanti. So today is Gurupurnima, also called Vyasapurnima, meaning that the birthday of a great sage, Vedavyasa, which was on this Purnima, is celebrated as the Teacher's Day, Gurupurnima. Because Vedavyasa represents the teacher, ideal teacher. It is our belief that he composed all the Puranas, Purana Munina. Of course, he has composed the Mahabharata, that is well known. Namostute Vyasa Vishana Buddhe Pulla Arvindaya Patra Netra. Hey Vedavyasa, our salutations to you, who is Vishal Buddha, who is a mighty intellect, who is also very beautiful looking or handsome looking, if you want to say, because he is said to be the incarnation of Lord Narayana. He is a partial incarnation of Lord Narayana. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. So Vyasa, who is manifest Vishnu, and Vishnu is manifest as Vyasa. Namo Vai Brahma Nidhe. One who is a Nidhi, or the treasure of Brahma, the Vedas, to that Vedavyasa, our salutations. So Vedavyasa is perhaps the most revered character in our tradition. And so much praise is in fact showered on Vedavyasa. It is even compared to all the three devatas, the Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesha. Achaturvadano Brahma. Brahmaji has 4 faces, 4 heads. But Vedavyasa has only one. How do you call him Brahma? Achaturvadano Brahma. He is Brahma without the 4 heads, with 1 head. Vibahora Paro Hari is also Hari. But Hari has 4 arms, having Narayana. So Dvibahu, this is the Hari having 2 arms. Abhalochana Shambhu is also Shambhu, but Shambhu has 3 eyes. 1 eye in his forehead, which Vedavyasa does not have. Abhalochana Shambhu. Shambhu without the eye in the forehead. So this is the Badarayana. This is how Vedavyasa is praised. And therefore, he represents the embodiment of Guru. And therefore, it's quite appropriate that his birthday is celebrated as the Gurupurnima, or what you call Teacher's Day. Although there is another Teacher's Day also, but this is a Mother's Day and Father's Day and so forth. So here, Teacher's Day. Just as on Mother's Day, we bring gift for the mother and hopefully help her, serve her, express our love towards her. And so also, that's what we do on this day, who is much more than a mother, because Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva. The Guru is mother also, Pita Tvameva, father also. Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva. He is a Bandhu also, brother also, friend also, relative also. Whatever, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. You are everything for me. This is how a disciple feels. Having lived with the Guru and having known him at very close quarters. Usually when people know us at close quarters, it's more dangerous. We always hesitate to let everything about us known to other people. And so we generally keep things, there is a facade. And we show ourselves as people who want to see us. We don't come out clean. And so, I always present myself as a person who will be pleasing you, acceptable to you. But the Guru doesn't have to do that. This has to be done by a person who is not very comfortable with himself. When I am not very comfortable with myself as I am, then I present myself before you as how I would be if I were comfortable with myself. And therefore, I always do things which are not very natural to me. That's what we do. But Guru doesn't need to do that because he is very comfortable with himself. That's the whole idea of knowledge, self-knowledge. Particularly, the idea of self-knowledge is that it makes me, knowing myself, makes me comfortable. Right now, I am the one who is most uncomfortable with myself. We've been discussing since the last 2 days. What makes me most uncomfortable is my own self. Why is it so? Because I find myself a limited, inadequate being. Thus, whenever I find myself inadequate, limited, bound, helpless, I become very unhappy with my own self. When I see somebody else inadequate, it doesn't make me unhappy. When I see myself as inadequate, that's a problem. Because I want to see myself as adequate. I have an expectation of myself, but I must be perfect. I must be full. I must be whole. There should be no limitation in me. I should not make any mistakes, etc., etc. It's a huge expectation I have of myself, and nobody can ever fulfill those expectations. So would it ever be that I can fulfill these expectations I have of myself? Because as it is, I can never feel comfortable with myself because I can never live up to my own expectation of myself. I have huge expectations. And where am I? Nowhere. When I want to see myself limitless, I find myself extremely limited. Is there a way that we can ever be satisfied with ourselves? So Upanishad says, Atmanameva lokam upasita. We will come back to our last week's lesson because somebody talk about that. All right. Atmanameva lokam upasita. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, upasita, may worship, may meditate upon Atmanameva lokam. May meditate upon or worship on the loka which is characterized by Atma, the self. The reason why this has to be said is because normally people meditate upon Anatma Loka. The Upanishad describes that the world consists of these 3 lokas. Bhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. This world, intermediate world, heaven. At least in the Vedic time. This day nobody cares about heaven and intermediate world. We care about other things, but those days they used to care about heaven and Pitraloka because scriptures give a lot of descriptions of how wonderful those places are and what kind of pleasures you get there. And this poor fellow being frustrated with the earth, he always, imagines that yes, I'll go to heaven and where I will have infinite happiness. So he thinks that he will have everlasting happiness when he goes to heaven. And so he works for that. So either he wants this world, intermediate world, that world. Because the conclusion is that the happiness that I am seeking is to be found there. Basically, I all the time want to meditate upon happiness. But then whatever I look upon as the means of happiness, I meditate upon that. These days we don't care for Bhurloka and Bhurloka, we care for Chandraloka. Want to go to moon? I think half the real estate on moon is already taken. And now there more excitement is there on the Mars. So that's another thing. People may want to go to Mars. Meaning that only the names change. Basically there is no change in the human beings. Only what we wear and what we eat and the way we present, all of that stuff changes. All superficial stuff changes. You say, it is the old wine in the new bottle. That's what it is. So bottle changes. That thing remains the same. Meaning that human being has really not changed. It has not changed. And so maybe years later, people may think of something else, but basically the mind always chasing something and always thinking of something other than myself. Meaning that a human being is all the time meditating upon worshipping Anatma Loka. Alright, if that can make me happy and can make me a successful person, no problem. Upanishad says that whatever karma you perform for attaining Anatma Loka, tat karma kshiyate, that is going to be perishable. Meaning that whatever we attain, as a result of however great that effort is, in the olden days, the greatest effort of karma was Ashwamedha Yajna. And they say that Ashwamedha Yajna, you get Brahmaloka. This is the highest achievement that one can imagine. Upanishad says that even that also will come to an end someday. However great karma you perform and however great your achievements are, it is perishable. The same thing applies today in a different way. Today you become president of the United States. The highest achievements are, these are the achievements. You become the CEO, then you become this and billionaires. And that's our dream. Those days dreams were different. Today dreams are different. But then, and people work hard. You imagine the amount of karma that is done for being president. Starts with primaries and constant battle. Another battle is starting, a drama is starting now. And then until November that battle will go on. Huge effort. And the prize is great, inexhaustible, the highest thing in the world. It is also exhaustible. 4 years. At the most 8 years. 4 is if you can survive. The way you are conducting yourself, people may not tolerate even for 4 years. But Upanishad says there is no achievement, not only in this world, but any other world also, is perishable. But this doesn't get into our heart. We hear every day and listen and laugh and everything else, but our minds always thinks of those things, unfortunately. Meaning the real vairagya does not come. Real disillusionment doesn't come. We are not disillusioned. They say that it's all right, it's all right for them. But see, I haven't experienced this. I haven't, and thus our mind keeps on building some kind of castles in the air. That attachment for the Anatma Loka is so strong that the mind does not give, keeps chasing it. So, there the Upanishad says that Atmanam, there is Atma Loka. Atma Loka means my own self. But I know what I am myself, I find that I am nothing. He says, no. The true nature of the Atma, Upasita Meyu, all the time meditate upon Atma. Worship Atma. So Upanishad talks of worshipping Atma. How do you worship? How do you worship Lord Dakshinamurti? By offering the Lord what He likes, what will please Him. So what does Atma like? Well, Atma likes that we conduct ourselves in harmony with Atma. The nature of Atma is what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Truth is the nature of the self. So Atma will be pleased when we conduct ourselves in accordance with truth. If we violate the truth, He is displeased. So that is the reason why He registers His protest. Whenever I violate a value, there is a conflict in me. Atma tells me that I am displeased. Because a conflict arises. So pleasing the Atma, meaning that conducting ourselves in keeping with the nature of the self, which is that universal order. First step. First step in Puja Swami's words is doing what is right. Simple. First step. It's simple. No, doing what is right rather than what I like. So that's where the conflict starts. As long as what I like is what is right, no problem. But if you don't like Kerala, then still you have to eat it because it's the right thing to do. After all, your hostess is made with such love and it serves you. How can you say I don't like Kerala? We may say that. But you know, a sadhu cannot say that. All right. Doing what is right, whether you like it or not. And then this is then a law, this is called faking till you fake it till you make it. So you pose as though you like Kerala. So the person is enthused, encouraged. Oh, Swamiji likes it. That's how Mahatmas are. See, here Akhandaji was telling us a story that in the villages, there are all these devotees. Mahatmas are traveling. Sometimes, very great sannyasis are very simple, traveling, invited by the devotees for bhiksha. So this man had invited a couple. As it turned out, that day she happened to be in her menstrual period, and so she could not cook. This fellow had to cook. He cooked. And the sabji was very nice, sabji was made, and the Mahatma came for lunch and he was all fed. Sabji was very delicious. Mahatma said, hey, give me more, give me more, give me more. He finished everything. After going home, Mahatma for 24 hours was in the bathroom, in toilet. You know what? This man did not know the difference between that castor oil and the regular oil. So he had cooked this vegetable in castor oil. Now, suppose this man, what are you stupid? Castor oil? His heart would be broken. Not only that, but what happens is, many years ago when I was invited to Bhiksha, similarly they had made something, mung or something. So 2 or 3 times the salt was there, I ate it without anything. But after I left and she ate, she was so, oh, Swamiji, this is what I felt, Swamiji. So this Mahatma did not want that. He consumed it so that we will never know what mistake was. So he was very happy that he... Then the disciple asked, what did you do, Maharaj? He said, that is what, why did you eat away when you didn't do anything for him? He says, no, this was the right thing to do. So how you make your people happy, there are many ways. But generally speaking, doing what is right involves some kind of pain and suffering. You cannot do it without. Otherwise, they will be able to do what is right. And so, with all enthusiasm, Kerala is prepared. And then wherever you go, Kerala, because everybody asks the previous one, what does Swami like? Kerala. So everywhere you would make a show, I like it. I like it. For 15 days, lunch and dinner, lunch. Breakfast, possibly they don't have karla. Lunch and dinner. But Swami says, as a result, he started liking them. So he started, in the beginning, he faked, he liked. Then it became the reality. Meaning that what is right ultimately becomes real. Because what is right is real. In the beginning, because we are accustomed to what is wrong, therefore right appears to be bitter. Yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam. What tastes bitter in the beginning, but turns out to be very sweet at the end. So right always is somewhat bitter, because usually we don't like it. Usually it's not convenient. So right versus convenient. And thus we have to subdue our impulse of doing what is convenient, doing what is right. So people, in fact, you put them food and they put on the plate and all kinds of things people do to avoid, When the Bhandara is over in Rishikesh and under the period also you can find things like that. But no, that is convenient. No. So not breaking the law, doing what is right, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's. And that is a little tough. Yat dagre vishamiva. In the beginning, it is rather bitter. But then, you start liking what is right. Because that is real delicious thing. What happens is we are used to such idiotic tests that what is really good doesn't taste good. But when we start tasting what is really good, then we start enjoying it. So Atma, being that first step, is to conduct ourselves in keeping with the nature of the self, follow the values and attitudes which are in keeping with the nature of the self. That is first. Then only you can even meditate, because meditation itself requires a lot of preparation. What happens? This is a rewarding process. This doing what is right is a rewarding process. You know why? Because every time you do something right, suppose you eat this karla even if you don't like it, your taste bud of course complains. But when you eat that and you see that hostess, oh, she's so happy that ultimately she fed Swami something that he liked, she's so happy. When you see the happiness on her face, the satisfaction you feel. Meaning that doing what is right gives immediate reward. Because it is in keeping with the nature of the self, in nature of the reality, and therefore you can never go wrong. Doing what is right may be painful, may involve some exertion, some even suffering, but you feel you have done something right. It's a battle that is one step. So it's a battle against what? Against my own self. Right versus like. And so, but every time the right is asserted, right away it gives me a sense of satisfaction. Then you know you've done something right. Even Manusmriti says, how do you decide what is right? Sometimes dharma, what is right, needs interpretation. Sometimes it becomes very, very complex. Even the scholars also sometimes don't have an agreement of what's the right thing to do in a given situation. So Manusmriti says that by doing what you feel inner satisfaction, understand that is right. See, Manusmriti says that. And thus, this is a journey of progressively discovering inner satisfaction. See, my problem was what? I don't like myself. That is the only problem I have. What's my problem? I do not like myself. Swami says, this fellow does not love himself. How does he expect to love anybody else? That he not this fellow, everybody. That I do not love myself. I do not like myself. Because I am not likable in my own perception. But when I start doing right, I start becoming likable, that I am simply okay. So slowly thus, I discover a liking for myself, a comfort with myself. That's how that that worship becomes, more enhanced. So this is a path that is immediately rewarding. So what's happening there? Everybody is looking there, instead of looking at me. Everybody is looking at you. Don't look at me. So you brought something. Oh, what must be there? It must be prasad. So what must be there inside? What shall we get at lunchtime? That must be going on, I guess. I guess that's more delicious than what the Swami is talking about. What does it take for a mind to get distracted? Nothing. No, that's all right, don't worry. I'm just joking, that's all right. And they're all very great people, But this meditation, worshipping the Atma, is a most rewarding process because at every step we discover a comfort with ourselves, satisfaction with ourselves. So ultimately, the purpose of upasana, worship, is that Lord should reveal Himself to me. That's what Lord Krishna says in the Gita. That when I find that my bhaktas are worshipping me without any agenda, Tesham satat yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. They worship me all right, but out of love, with no agenda and no expectation. Bhagavan also likes that. Somebody. All the time we keep on going to Him with demands and He fulfills the demands. Okay. He would not like somebody should come to me without demand. So when he finds a rare person coming without demand, he says, Bhagavan, take it. I don't want anything. Then Bhagavan is really happy. Dadami buddhiyogam tam. So I give them buddhi yoga, mam upayant. That's how they know me. Meaning that, as Bhagavad Gita says, that it is He who reveals Himself. Yamai vaisha vrunate tenlabhya tasya atma vrunate tanus. When you worship Him, He gets pleased with you and He reveals yourself before you. Atma vrunate tanum swam. Atma reveals His true nature before this devotee who worships Him. So our job is to worship. Then leave it up to Him. Rest He has to do. Why worshipping so long, Swami, nothing is happening. You keep on doing what you need to do. Digging and digging, no water is coming, doesn't matter. But he got water. Maybe he's in a different place, no soil. So he got water in 15 feet. That fellow got 35 feet. I'm in 100 feet, nothing. Doesn't matter. That's where you are. But water is there for sure. And therefore, all that he can do is the water has to come out. You keep on making your effort. And therefore, Atma, so says, Tanum Swam, the self reveals its true nature. When He gets pleased with us. So pleasing the self, by doing what the self likes, by offering what the self likes. And ultimately, of course, when vairagya comes, then no need to it. Even karma also is not required. Then you're all the time at yourself, at your disposal, and then you will worship even more with concentration. As the mind becomes inward looking, you've done all your duties, now you can say, thank you, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, okay, I've done enough. Not to avoid duty. Swami, you stop coming to the United States. Our children only want us to take care of their grandchildren. We don't want to do that. No, that's a different thing. That also. But here, because something is more calling you, demanding, therefore you give that. Meaning you give up your responsibilities because some greater responsibility has come to you. That is why you give up. Not to avoid something, but to justice to now something that is more important. So when you discover the true importance of the self or the self-knowledge, then we are justified giving up things that are less important. Not otherwise. Otherwise, manomoya druni trini apakrutya manomoksha nivesha. Manusmriti says that all your obligations you should first fulfill before you come to moksha. But the point is that when you discover that now your obligation to yourself is the most important, then you can give up. Then Atmanameva Loko Upasita. Upasana is what? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Says Viveka Chudamani, Moksha Karana Samagriyam Bhaktireva Gariyasi. Among all the means required for moksha, bhakti is the greatest. Who says? Shankaracharya says, you know. Do you think Shankaracharya is no bhakti? But his bhakti is what? Swasvarupānusandhānam bhakti-ritya vidyate, constantly contemplating, dwelling upon your true nature. Even today I am delivering myself, but that's the ego, not the true nature. So constantly focusing my mind upon, dwelling upon, contemplating upon the true nature of myself is the bhakti. That is called upasana. Upasana means bhakti. And so that's the bhakti that Atma likes. How long should we do? Until water comes? Until Atma reveals himself. So whether Atma reveals or whether you know, etc. is all very anirvachaniya thing. Never. We have to do what we can do and leave the rest to Atma, to do his duty. You know? One bhakta says, you know, Itana tu karna Swami, jab prana tana se nikale. He makes all kinds of requests. You come with your flute and this, there, and all sorts of things, you know, bhakta demands. Vrindavan ka tato vad tulsi vana ho, etc., etc. Having made all these requests, he says, ye nek si arji, this nek arji, meaning that this prayer I have done. Mano to kya hai arji? If you follow, if you fulfill this demand, what's wrong? What will you lose? But anyway, kuch aapki hai karzi, you also have a duty to perform. And therefore, I have asked for it and you also have a responsibility to fulfill my expectations. Bhakta is also demand. And Atma says, okay. So Atmaneva Lokam Upasita. Therefore, Upanishad says that to get what is imperishable, inexhaustible, is never away from you, it's your own self. And therefore, we are always worshippers of the inexhaustible, imperishable. But then, worshipping what is perishable, hoping to be imperishable, that doesn't work. So worship that which is perishable, imperishable by nature. So that is how Upanishad teaches Atmaneva Lokam Upasita.